Humans are an important part of an ecosystem. Human involvement has a significant impact on ecosystem change. Humans carry out various activities to fulfill their needs. These activities generate waste. However, the problem is the waste in large quantities and can be dangerous from an intensive activity, namely industry. Industry is a source of pollution both for the soil, water, and air environment, and start from waste in the form of solid, liquid, to gas. Pollutants are foreign substances that enter the environment and cause change in the environment. Change in the environment can occur depending on the amount and toxic level of the waste introduced into the environment and the capacity of the environmental media to accommodate waste. Pollutant loads that exceed the carrying capacity of the environment will cause pollution and damage. If the environmental burden is too great, the environment takes time to repair itself, and if repairs are difficult, then environmental pollution occurs.
Sources and types of water pollution. Pollution originating from human activities can be identified in a certain location, point source, or indeterminate disparate, non-point diffuse source. Point source of pollution source, such as car exhaust, factory chemicals, and industrial sewer glands. Source of non-point source of pollution can be a mixture of certain sources in a large quantities. Pollution source can also be grouped into direct source of pollution and indirect source of pollution. Source of direct pollution are sources of pollution that go directly out of the source in the media as a source of impact, such as from industrial activities, household, agriculture, animal husbandry, and so on. Indirect sources are contaminants that enter the environment through intermediary media, such as soil, groundwater, and rain before reaching the target recipient. Types of waste material from direct or indirect pollution source can take various forms as follows. First, solid waste, solid both coarse and fine. This form of waste material in the water can be suspended, dissolved, or even precipitate. Second, organic waste include waste material that can be degraded by microorganisms. Organic waste will be composed of process to produce methane gas. Third, inorganic waste in the form of waste material that is difficult to decompose or degrade by microorganisms. Number 4, process waste has a very pungent odor to the nose. There are also pathogenic bacteria that are harmful to human health. 5, oily liquid waste material is soluble in water. The oil layer will block sunlight. This even will reduce the level of dissolved oxygen in the water. 6. Chemical waste consists of soap or detergent ingredients, chemical addiction agents, insecticides. As a result, it will reduce dissolved oxygen levels in the water. 7. Chemical dyes is toxic and carcinogenic to the body because it is composed of chemical substances.
Next is about indicator of water pollution. Polluted water has special characteristics that make it different from clean water. These special characteristics can be observed physically, chemically, and biologically. Physical, chemical, and biological changes in the aquatic environment can be shown from several indicators or signs that the water is in a polluted condition. Those indicators include, first, temperature. By knowing the temperature of the water, it is also possible to know the types of organisms present in the water. Changes in the water temperatures can be caused by industrial activities that throw their waste into the water. Second is the degree of acidity or pH. The normal pH of water is between 6.5 to 7.5. However, water can also be acidic or basic due to several factors. One of them is the disposal of waste into the waters that can make the water acidic less than 7 or alkaline more than 7. Third is physical indicators. For this matter, it is easy to recognize because it can be detected by the 5 human senses. Things that can be observed by the 5 senses including color, taste, and smell of the water. The change is caused by the type and amount waste material in the waters. Fourth is presence of precipitation, colloidal, and dissolved materials originating from solid industrial waste materials. The more sediment, colloidal, and dissolved materials will increase the BOD or biological oxygen demand in the waters. 5. Microorganisms play a role in degrading waste materials. The more waste material in the water, the more microorganisms will degrade it. This can trigger the emergence of pathogenic microbes that cause disease. 6 is the presence of radioactive substances discharged into the waters.
Physical parameters are parameters to determine water quality through the physical components of the water, such as temperature, color, odor, taste, turbidity, total dissolved solid or TSD, and conductivity. The first is temperature. If the water temperature exceeds the normal limit, it can be indicated that there is a large amount of dissolved chemicals or a decomposition process is taking place by microorganisms. Second, smelly, cloudy, tasted, and colored water can be indicated as water that is unhealthy or unfit for consumption, because it may contain suspended organic and inorganic materials and decomposition products that can endanger health. Third, total dissolved solids or TDS. TDS are dissolved materials and colloids in the form of chemical compounds and other materials that are very small in size. Some compounds that make up TDS are toxic and carcinogenic, so it is dangerous to consume water with a TDS value that is too high. The last is conductivity. The conductivity of water depends on the number of dissolved ions per volume and its mobility. Conductivity can be measured using a conductivity meter, and the results are used to classify water, seawater intrusion, and well water or groundwater.
Now I'm going to explain about chemical parameters of water pollution. The first is degree of acidity or pH. The pH value is determined by the concentration of hydrogen ions in the water. The second is dissolved oxygen or DO. Oxygen is one of the gases dissolved in water. The third is biochemical oxygen demand or BOD. Decomposition of organic matter generally occurs in two stages. The fourth is chemical oxygen demand or COD. COD describes the total amount of oxygen required to chemically oxidize chemicals. The fifth is nitrate. Nitrate is toxic in waters. The content of nitrate in waters is determined by pollution by N compounds and the inhibition of the process of forming nitrate by microorganisms. The sixth is nitrate. Nitrate is the main form of nitrogen in natural waters and is a major nutrient for plant and algal growth. The seventh is iron. The iron redox process involves bacteria as mediators. The eighth is cadmium. Cadmium is widely used in metallurgy, metal plating, pigments, batteries, electronic equipment, lubricants, photographic equipment, glass, ceramics, textiles, and plastics industries. The ninth is lead. Lead in water is found in dissolved or suspended state. And the last is phosphate. Phosphate is found in natural water or wastewater.
Impact for the water pollution. The impact are divided into 4 places. First, impact on aquatic life. Aquatic life needs sufficient amount of oxygen. Pollutant in the water will reduce the level of dissolved oxygen in the water. If the oxygen level decreases to a certain level, the life of aquatic biota will be disturbed. For example, the death of fish, aquatic plants, and bacteria. If the bacteria die, the natural wastewater purification process will also experience obstacle. Thermal pollution from waste will also disrupt it. Second is impact on groundwater quality. Pollutant will seep into the soil through the soil pores. In this infiltration process, the soil will become saturated. This will cause disturbance to the water soil that we use for drinking. Third is impact on health. The impact on health depends on the quality of water, because water is a medium for the spread of disease. In Indonesia, there are several diseases that are categorized as waterborne disease. This disease can spread if the causative microbe can enter the water source used for daily needs. For example, rotavirus causes diarrhea in children, and hepatitis A virus causes hepatitis A. Last is impact on environmental aesthetic. Industrial process produce byproduct in the form of waste. The accumulation of waste requires a large area so as not to interfere with sanitation and health in residential area. This problem is referred to as the environmental aesthetic problem. Waste oil and fat also causes environmental aesthetic problem, namely around the waste disposal site becomes slippery.